I kept coming home to dog poop in my yard on a regular basis. I started collecting the poop each time it happened, and then I went to his house when I was sure he was not home, dumped all the poop on his front steps, and left a note that said, "You must clean up after your own dogs." Hey everyone, welcome back to Delve Deck Stories. I'm Gabe, and I'm here with Tess, and today we're going to be diving into some revenge stories. So without further ado, let's get into it. Our first story comes from Jack, and it's, "What's the pettiest thing you've ever done?" from the Deep Dive edition. The last house I lived in, we had a neighbor who moved in across from us with two giant German Shepherds. Shortly after they moved in, I kept coming home to dog poop in my yard on a regular basis. That's not fun. I suspected the new neighbor, but decided to install a camera on my door to find out who was behind it. Sure enough, it was the new neighbor. I started collecting the poop each time it happened and kept a few days worth of the mess. Then I went to his house when I was sure he was not home, dumped all the poop on his front steps, and left a note that said, "You must clean up after your own dogs." I don't know if I would ever go this far in collecting, but I get the point, and I appreciate the pettiness of this.
I respect it. I would also, I don't think, maybe I missed it, but did they say anything to their neighbor before they did this, or did they go straight to collecting?
Sounds like straight to collecting.
Love that for you.
Yeah. Next day, I came home from work, and the idiot neighbor comes bounding to my driveway and starts yelling about leaving a mess in his yard. Him, "What is wrong with you? You made a huge mess at my house." Me, "No, you made a mess at my house. I was just returning the mess to you." Him, "I didn't do anything." Me, "I have a security camera and I saw you. You and your dogs are not welcome in my yard."
This is drama.
Yeah, I wonder if he got this all on footage, like on the camera outside, you know?
Yeah, post it.
He starts shouting that he will go where he pleases and calling me every name in the book, so I just ignored him and stomped back to my house. Next day, more poop in my yard. Ooh, this is...
Wow, this is like a weird little poop rivalry that you've created.
This is like the worst thing you can get in a fight with.
Yeah.
I decided to have a motion-activated sprinkler. Oh, God.
This is like a movie. Like, you're just revenge on...
Yeah. We need to start writing the screenplay.
Yeah.
I decided to have a motion-activated sprinkler installed and had the sprinklers aimed at the perimeter and sidewalk so both he and the dogs would get soaked if the dogs would set foot in my yard. Sure enough, the day after we put the sprinklers in, this idiot came with his dogs and they got hit with the sprinklers. I watched the footage on my camera and laughed at him cursing and pitching a fit about getting wet. Because this man is an idiot, he tried to use our yard again the next day, and he and his dogs got soaked again. He did not come back after that, or talk to me ever again after that. Wow.
Yeah.
It does certainly feel like a movie, like there's a rivalry, but I mean, like, I don't know if typically it's like, oh, you put these lawn ornaments on the yard, and this is the rivalry, right? But never like, I stored your dog's poop somewhere on my...
I know, where were you storing it?
Like, look, okay, after a few days, that poop, not smelling great.
No.
And the fact that they were willing to, like, that petty, they're like, I'm going to let it just sit.
And also paying money to get motion-activated sprinklers.
And the
like,
camera.
You were dedicated.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I don't think I would ever do the point of like collecting. That's a lot for me.
Yeah, I think that it would have to get to that point for me.
Right.
There would have to. I feel like there's some steps in between that I personally felt were missed.
There's a breaking point for sure.
Let us know what you think.
Our next story comes from Charlotte, and it's, "Describe the most annoying neighbor you've ever had." Sounds like this last guy was the one. This is from the original Delve Deck. "I live next door to a family with teenagers. Already sounds like a mess.
Nobody wants that.
The parents were fine, but the trouble started when the parents left for a weekend and let the teens stay home. I can already imagine there's a party or something involved here.
Yeah.
The teenagers threw a loud, raging party every night the parents were away. Even though we did not share the walls, the music was so loud that my bedroom felt like a nightclub at 2 a.m. I called the police several times each night it happened. The teenagers would turn it down when the police came, and as soon as the police left, they turn it back up.
Wow.
At one point after the police came, the teenagers turned on a karaoke machine at full volume and replaced the lyrics to Robin Thicke's Blurred Lines with, "We're trying to wake the neighbors, hey, hey, hey. Don't care about your sleeping babies, hey, hey, hey." These kids sound like We lived at the top of a hill, so this racket was going to be audible to every neighbor in the area, even the ones on the streets below us, since the noise was echoing off the hills. I was furious.
Yeah.
The following weekend, it happened again.
Wow. Where are these parents?
abandoning their children, clearly.
And kids suck. They're
just
like, we don't want to be around them.
Yeah, in Europe, they're just like, look, we know our kids suck. We are getting away as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The following weekend, it happened again. This time, I went over to the edge of my yard and filmed what was going on at their house. They had a ton of people over, beers were out, and these kids were all high school aged. The noise was out of control. This sounds like Project X or something. Like, just, I can imagine a full rager, a bounce house, a pool, people smoking, drinking, doing drugs.
This is also, a movie scene, that you're having this big of a party.
Yeah. I mean, would I participate in said party as a kid? Probably.
Absolutely, if I got an invite.
Yeah. Just like mosey on in. When the parents came back from the trip, I went over to their house and suggested they may not want to leave their teens unattended in the house anymore and show them the footage of what their kids were doing when they were gone. The parents were apologetic and said they'd be taking the kids with them on future trips. A family member had been sick in a neighboring state and they'd been driving out to spend time with them on the weekends. I thanked them and went home. The next day, when I pulled into my driveway, one of their teenagers accosted me and was like, "You didn't have to rat me out to my parents." Okay. Rich coming from you, kid.
Yeah. This is a brave teenager.
Yeah.
I guess teenagers are just kind of like fearless like that, but
I know. It's like, dude, this is an adult, and at some point someone's gonna snap. You know?
Yeah.
I just laughed and to the melody of Blurred Lines replied, "We're trying to have some quiet, hey, hey, hey. Don't care about your drunken ragers, hey, hey, hey," and then went into my house with a satisfied smirk.
That teen was probably like, what a loser. Who even listens to that song? Teenagers are such monsters.
They're like, what even is that
What
song?
even is this?
Yeah, teenagers are... The fact that this kid would then be like, you didn't have to rat me out. Also, your parents are going to another state because your family member is sick, and you're over here getting mad that you got ratted out for having a rager.
I get it.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I also would be unhappy, but I don't know, like, as a teen, but also, you didn't have to, you, like, took it to another level, but teenagers, they're not the smartest.
Yep.
So...
Not developed yet in the front there. I would, again, participate in the party for sure, whether I was invited or not. But I would never accost my neighbor to be like, yo, and it's like, okay, well, you don't know who this person is in real life.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what role, influence, power they have. You gotta choose your battles wisely, but again, not developed up here.
Not smart.
Our next story comes from Joey, and it's "What's the pettiest thing you've done?" from the Deep Dive edition. My mom recently moved to a cabin in a remote area, and I insisted she have a generator just in case she loses power out there. Mom protested about the cost and refused to let me buy her one. One day, she was like, "Joey, a guy is selling a used generator on Facebook Marketplace for $100. Can you help me pick it up?" This already sounds pretty shady. I was a bit skeptical about a used generator from Facebook Marketplace, but I agreed to help her out. So I picked up my mom and drove her out to this guy's property, over an hour away from my mom's place, where he has this used generator. This guy's place is a total junkyard with all kinds of beat up equipment, appliances, etc. I assumed it was a bunch of junk he was trying to sell on Facebook. Before I let my mom pay, I was like, "Can you show us how it works?" He makes a bunch of excuses as to why he can't show us. Already shady.
Yeah.
He gets increasingly argumentative when I tell him we cannot be sure if it works, so we can't buy it. The guy kept telling me that we were missing out on a great deal and complaining that we had wasted his time and that plenty of other people wanted to buy the generator, and if he lost out on selling it to them, it would be our fault. I got annoyed, so it was clear to me he was trying to sell us a broken generator, and I wasn't having it. I mean,
this is very...
yeah, like...
a lot of red flags.
Show me it works, and then I'll buy it. I'm not going to buy some used thing to then get, a lemon, right?
Yeah.
We ended up leaving empty-handed, and I was furious we'd wasted our whole day to almost get scammed by this guy. Yeah, I mean, like, they're driving an hour out, driving an hour back, anytime in between. I thought it was especially insulting that he had complained to us about wasting his time when we had driven over an hour to see the broken generator. I decided to go home and create a fake Facebook account and waste more of his time. Ooh, yeah, this is getting petty.
Yeah.
I went home and created a fake old lady profile with pics and posts and added some random people as friends to make it look legit. A few weeks after setting up my profile, I messaged the scammer about a couch he had for sale. I gave him a sob story about how I didn't have a way to pick it up, but would gladly pay him to deliver it. He told me he wanted a $100 delivery fee and tried to get me to pay in advance. I pretended I didn't know how online payments worked and told him I would pay cash when it was delivered. Then I gave him an address an hour from his place and told him to drive out to some random address with a couch, knowing that if anyone was home at the address I provided, they'd have no idea what he was talking about and send him on his way. Once he got to the address, he started messaging me and goes, "I'm outside, can you come out?" I reply, "Oh, sorry, I forgot, I went to the store." I will be home soon. He kept messaging me over the next hour, and I kept replying back with more excuses about the delay. I had to run an errand. The ATM was out of cash. My son had a flat tire, and we were waiting for AAA. I strung him along for an hour before I stopped replying entirely. He blew up my fake profile's messages with angry screeds about how I wasted the whole day and he was going to go home and not sell me the couch, etc. I laughed my ass off about the whole thing. That's what he gets for trying to scam people.
Wow. This is very dedicated, but also this poor person's house that you sent him to. He's a very angry man.
Yeah. I can only imagine like how many times he tried to go up to the door and knock on it,
Yeah.
and if they were home and bother them. But I mean, this is, karma. He gets
I
this.
wonder if I would maybe do like a fake address or house you know is empty.
Oh, like 123 Fake Street.
Yeah, 123 Fake Street. The most legit.
Just straight up a fake address.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who knows? But yeah, this guy definitely deserves it. I mean, like, he wasted these, like, for his mom, right? It's like, oh, the mom's like, I don't want you to buy me a new generator. Like, I don't want to put that on you. And then she's like, I found a used one, thinking that, this would work out.
I mean, this guy is a scammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a hoarder, it looks like. Like just a junkyard dog,
He might just be going to the junkyard and trying to sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, that's a possibility. I have seen people on Craigslist like try to do that kind of like arbitrage where they'll like buy something and flip it for something, more. Maybe they'll fix it up, maybe they won't. But this just seems like somebody who was like, I'm going to take and try to sell it for money.
Right.
Yeah. Our next story comes from Tara, and it's what's the pettiest thing you've done from the deep dive. This was over 20 years ago at this point. My ex was cheating on me with another woman he met online. Idiot drove 3 days to Michigan to cheat on me. Okay.
Just take a flight.
Yeah, just take it. Or just not. Don't cheat. I
Don't
know.
cheat, but again, like, you need to cheat that bad? You're going to drive 3 days?
I feel like the driving is what's going to get him on this one. Because there's a little bit of emphasis on the drove there.
Yeah.
I found out by seeing hotel charges in Michigan. He had told me he was on a business trip to Louisiana.
Bruh.
Dude,
One's all
lie
the way
better.
south.
Lie better if you're going to do it. Like, what?
Ugh, it's at least, be like, oh, sorry, I had to go to Minnesota or Wisconsin.
Or Michigan. My business trip is in Michigan.
Right, like, it just,
Louisiana, that's the other side of the country. What are you doing?
First, I called his boss asking for a number to the hotel in Louisiana. Boss said, I didn't send him on a business trip. Me, innocent, you didn't? Oh, well, if he calls, can you ask him to call me? He's not answering his phone. He later got reamed out by his boss. Then I strapped an X-Acto knife to a record player needle and played all his vintage vinyl with it. Ooh. Well, it sounds like he deserves it.
I mean, definitely.
Yeah.
Don't cheat.
It fit in the grooves and didn't change how the record looked, but absolutely destroyed the sound. Oh, that is petty.
Yeah.
I lightly sautéed his favorite CDs on the stove just enough to warp them and make them unplayable. This was pre-digital music. I was about to say, I was like, who sells CDs? I went into our computer under his login and found her info. She was a professor of psychology at a community college of all things, and reported her to her dean and commented publicly on all her university posts that I hoped she was enjoying my husband.
Wow. Layers to this.
Oh, man. And there's more. And finally, I printed out all of his emails to her and left them on the bed for him to find. I went through and highlighted the worst parts. Then I cleaned out the bank account and moved in with my dad and turned off my phone, leaving him stranded in Michigan. Wow.
I mean, yeah. You just gotta get out of there. Don't cheat on people, and it's why you're trying to get caught. Like,
if you're not happy, just get out of the
leave.
marriage, relationship, divorce,
then
do
you get
something.
to keep your records intact.
Exactly. And your CDs.
Yeah.
And you can at least maybe get some of the money in your bank account. But
Also, why are you driving 3 days to cheat?
yeah.
What are you doing?
No. Not cool, man. Not cool.
It's just that, cheating is obviously bad, but it's when the people just, are so stupid about it and do crazy. I'm like, what?
You're like, that's a terrible alibi. Can we work on
Can
this?
we?
I said, maybe someone should offer classes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And then, please sign up
for cheating alibi course.
Yeah.
First 10 people. No, that's Not cool.
Don't do that.
So our last story comes from Carmela, and it's What's Your Not My Proudest Moment story from the Venting Edition. When I was 10, I went to an Easter egg hunt with my cousins. I knew it was probably going to be my last year because I decided that the Easter Bunny and Santa were probably not real, although I was still on the fence about Santa. Who isn't?
I'm still not convinced that it might be real.
Yeah, it's magic. Every single year, I would end up winning a tiny white chocolate lamb, which I hated, and it was like a curse. All I wanted was a regular chocolate bunny. There was always one really big one, and I was always envious of the winner. Well, once again, I won a white chocolate lamb. I will agree. Okay, white chocolate isn't the best.
Yeah, I've never seen... I understand what a big chocolate bunny is, but I feel like we're talking about a white chocolate lamb like it's a common thing for Easter. I've never seen this.
I've never seen it either.
But maybe it's because it's not good.
Yeah. It's the only her town and that store that the people buy it from. That's the only, they're like, we only import to this one place.
Yeah, it's the only place that wants it.
Yeah.
And not even that much.
Clearly, no one else does. Yeah, that sucks. And while still brooding over the disappointment, my least favorite cousin, who was a full 2 years older than myself, was somewhat small for her age and decided to participate, and she won the big chocolate bunny. Of course this is a person who you don't like.
Yeah.
You know, there's that extra envy that's involved there. Afterwards, we went back to our grandparents' house, and it was warm in the house, so we lined up our prizes on the table on their porch. As I stood there looking at the giant bunny my cousin won and my pathetic little lamb, I was overcome by anger, and without even really knowing what I was doing, I pushed the rabbit onto the floor, where it broke into a pile of waxy milk chocolate and sugary destruction. I quickly pulled my 3-year-old cousin over near the table and yelled, "Oh no!"
Just grab a child. Why'd you do that?
You gotta blame someone. My mother and aunts and uncles came running in, and I said, "Joshua bumped it into the table and knocked Erica's rabbit over." They all said, of course it was just an accident and it was fine. Erica, meanwhile, was so angry at her brother.
I'm shocked that this 3-year-old kid wasn't like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, no, well, I guess if the little kid, no, I didn't, then you'd be like, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Smart.
Quick thinking.
Yeah, quick thinking. And she had to eat her chocolate bunny out of a Tupperware bowl. Sounds so sad.
She still got to eat the bunny, though.
Yeah. But sadly, in a plastic Tupperware bowl, like all the tiny little pieces, which melt on your fingertips.
Yeah.
I carried this secret with me until I was 25, and then I told her. We had a laugh over it, and Joshua said, every Easter I have to hear about how I ruined Erica's last egg hunt because I broke a rabbit. And all this time it was you? That's so evil. But he has forgiven me, and every Easter I buy the biggest chocolate rabbits I can find for each of them. Still, though, not my proudest moment all these years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you're getting a white chocolate lamb years and years and years on repeat, I would also probably get pretty jealous and envious. I mean, if I'm a kid, I'm like, I want the chocolate.
I would definitely be jealous.
Yeah.
Just also, why can't everyone have a chocolate bunny?
Right. Who's buying this chocolate white chocolate lamb?
Lambs. Nobody wants that.
Whoever is buying it should have to eat it. You know? But turns out that person's like, that's my favorite kind of chocolate.
Yeah, probably.
And a lamb of all
things?
Would
you do the white chocolate lamb or a peep? Peeps are pretty gross.
Peeps are pretty gross. I would say that the only reason I would buy Peeps is to have the Peep Wars in the microwave.
Oh, sure.
And you put little toothpicks in each of them, and then you turn the microwave on for 30 seconds, and you see which one stabs the other one. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, can't do that with a white chocolate lamb. Worthless candy.
Nope.
Peeps marshmallows are significantly worse than regular marshmallows.
Yeah, they've gone
There's
through
something about them. They've gone through
seen some
transformation.
stuff. Yeah. To get that shape and to make it look like that and stay fine for months on end.
They have to traumatize them.
Yeah, those Peeps, they've seen some. Well, that's it for today's Delve Deck Stories. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you heard today, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And if you want to submit your own Delve Deck stories, go to share.delvedeck.com, or you can pick up your own at boredwalk.com.